So today, all you need in terms of supplies are pencil, paper, and you probably want an eraser. Actually don't have one, but you may or may not want a ruler. But you don't have to have a ruler. Sometimes if I don't have a ruler, I just use like the side of a piece of paper as a straight edge. But you may or may not want one. I probably won't use one today, but if I did, I would just use the edge of a piece of paper to help me get a straight line. I like your animation, Josh. Getting ready to draw. I love it. Okay, need some drawing gloves. Oh, you're in the car. No worries. No worries. You can follow along. All right. I have drawn in the car before, so no worries. As long as you're not driving. Okay. All right. So it looks like we have a pretty nice sized group here today, which is awesome. Okay. So we're going to get started. So today, I know we've talked a lot about how in cartooning, especially when you're drawing a character, you're trying to look for the basic shapes. And that's how Chuck Jones drew all of his cartoons, all of his characters, so that when he was making a cartoon, he would look for the most basic shapes. So a lot of times we start with circles, we start with rectangles, we start with triangles. If you were in my cartooning camp, we talked about how each of those shapes has like a personality to them. But today, we're actually going to be focusing on not on characters, but on regular household items like chairs and sofas and dressers, like things that maybe you don't necessarily always draw, but maybe because you don't always draw, you might find them challenging. And I'm going to give you guys a trick today that's going to help you when you're drawing them. And the trick is that if you start from a simple shape and build out the shape, and then carve away at it, almost pretending like you're a sculptor and you're like you're Michelangelo and you've been given like a big block of marble. Today we're going to pretend like we're sculptors when we're drawing. So I'm going to show you. So a lot of what we're going to be doing is going to be using 3D forms. So we'll start with one of my favorites, which is just going to be a chair. I'm sorry about the line, guys. It's just the way the light hits my space. I'm gonna have to like pretend it's not there. All right. So the first thing is we're gonna need to practice some 3D shapes. So maybe just as a warm up, let's try making some rectangular prisms. So to make a rectangular prism, I'm just gonna start. You can draw along with me. I'm just gonna start with a rectangle, and I like to bring the corner down first like this. I can zoom in a little bit too if you need me to. I like to bring it down like this. So I'm just doing like a rectangle that is kind of slanted. And then I like to turn my paper. I like to turn my paper a little bit to get the other side. So we're doing 3D forms. So this form is going to, because it's a rectangle, it's going to have multiple sides. So I'm doing maybe this side like this. And then you got to try to work on the back side or the top. This. So this is just practice. So we're practicing drawing. This is like a rectangular prism. This is a tall rectangular prism. Maybe you want to try a wide rectangular prism. So you could start, maybe this one goes up like this. It's like a wide one, a low and wide one. So just practice at it. So maybe these go up this way, and you know what? And if they're not perfect, it's totally fine. Like sometimes I even have, like when I'm working, sometimes I have to erase and redraw lines because like I didn't get the angles right. A lot of times it's just practice. All of this is really just practice. You could try just a cube, just a regular cube. So you're making all of the sides squares. So we did rectangular prisms. Now we're doing kind of a cube. And this is kind of what, if you feel like you need a straight edge, if you feel like you need a ruler or something to help you draw these shapes in, then you can definitely use a ruler if you need. But this is all just practice for now. If you want to get fancy with it, you could try overlapping some, this is like advanced, you could try overlapping some shapes. So like maybe some 3D forms behind other forms. Oops, like this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I mean, we are drawing rectangular cubes, but I mean, what if you need to draw other, you know, other kinds of 3D shapes? I mean, like the rectangle, like the rectangular prism and cube are okay, but I mean, how do you exactly draw a sphere?
A sphere, awesome. I'm glad you asked. Actually, the next shape that I was going to practice was going to be a cylinder. So a sphere is a circle, and I'll get to that in a second. But let's start with a cylinder. So if you're going to do a cylinder, then you got a circle. You got like, it's called an ellipsis. This isn't a circle, so it's like a flat. It's like a circle if you squished it flat. You have an ellipsis. And you have two straight lines coming down from the ellipsis. And then the bottom of your cylinder has to match that curve. So you got to do that curve over here. With a sphere is a little bit different because a sphere is essentially just a circle. But when you draw a circle in, so here's my circle. When you draw, it's a terrible circle, but that's okay. You can erase and fix it. When you draw a circle, right now it's just a 2D flat circle. The only way to make a drawing look actually spherical is to add shading in. And we're actually not going to get, we're going to do a little bit of shading, but the only way to make a circle into a sphere is to really add like shadows. But if you want to do that, you can definitely practice doing that. All you have to do if you're trying to make a sphere is you have to imagine that where the light is coming from. So maybe my light is, I'm going to pretend it's coming from this direction. Let me bring that down a little bit. So it's hitting this side. So that means the opposite side is going to be the darkest side. So if you want to practice making a sphere, you can. But to make a sphere, you definitely have to add in shading. So with the other shapes, I wasn't really focusing on shading, but that was a really good question. And it's something that is important and that we will talk a little bit about when we start to draw in some of our furniture and forms. But this one requires values and shading. So when I say value, what value means is it's the difference between the lightness and the darkness of a shape. So with the sphere, I'm just adding in some of the shadows, the dark areas and the light areas with the value. And if I even want to go farther, I can add in like an actual shadow, a cast shadow from my sphere back over here to show that it really is a sphere. So that's how you turn a 2D form into a 3D form. And if you guys are interested in practicing more of that, we can definitely do a class that talks about turning 2D forms into 3D forms. But for this is just kind of a warm up, and we're just kind of practicing drawing in some 3D forms as a warm up. Let me zoom out a little bit. How am I? There we go. So we're just practicing right now, just getting these forms in. Oh, I see. Josh, what program are you using? That looks great. I think you're doing it digitally. I love it. Looks awesome. Procreate, yeah, nice, Josh. So when I say that we're going to be starting with, today we're going to be starting with these forms. And the trick to drawing a anything pretty much, it could be a character or a chair, is really trying your hardest to see the form behind the shape. And what I mean is kind of like this drawing that I did here, which I found something online similar to this, but this was a good example of it. So I just wanted to show it to you. It's a little dim, I can zoom in a little bit. So when I say carving away at forms, all we're doing is in drawing this simple pencil sharpener, and this is just like a pencil sharpener that anybody had, it's like a standalone one that you probably have seen at school, or I think I have one somewhere. But all it really is when you look at it, is that it starts with this kind of wedge form. And when you're drawing it, you're actually just, if you start with the form, if you kind of or have an idea in your mind about what kind of 3D form is the base of your figure, then you can start to carve away at it and make a drawing that looks more realistic. So let's try that with a chair. Let's see here. I'm just getting a new piece of paper. Okay, put this aside now that we're a little bit warmed up. So let's start with let me flip this over. Oh, that side's dirty too. Let's start with a rectangular prism. So I'm gonna go down, and I like to do it so that that corner is kind of facing me. So I like to have it, I just find things are a little more like dynamic, a little more interesting when that corner is towards me. So I'm just starting with a rectangular prism. It's kind of going up like this. Sorry, one second. Let me just make sure that everybody, and if you guys ever have any questions, or you're not sure what we're doing, or you just need some help, or you want me to slow down or pause, just let me know, okay? Just let me know. I can always pause. Okay? All right, so I started with this. So actually, inside of so this is I'm going to turn this into a chair. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to actually shorten this so that we have the bottom part of the chair here. So I'm going to start adding in this is the base, this is going to be the base part of the chair. So here's the bottom part of the chair right here. And then up here, maybe I have the side of the chair. So like this is going to be the top part of the chair. So I'm just doing like a curved part right here. And one thing is that when you're drawing in a 3D shape, or when you're trying to draw in like a real form, edges are kind of important. So maybe I'm going to add in some of the edges to this, like that. I do them a little darker so that we can see them. So like.
Can you pause for a second?
Sure, I can slow down for sure. I'm just going over this, but I can definitely slow down after this step. So all I'm doing right now, just to kind of give you a heads up, is I'm adding. So all I've taken is I've taken this cube, and I'm kind of breaking down the parts of the chair that are inside of it. So this is going to be the flat seat. You can kind of see the chair starting to appear. This is the flat seat of the chair. This is going to be the back part of the chair. In a second, I'm going to start to do I'm going to do 4 little pieces of wood coming down from the chair. And then I got to give it some legs. But already, because I have drawn in this rectangular prism, guidelines to kind of help me draw my chair in a more 3D form. Awesome. All right, so I'm just going to start, and I'm just going to do it really lightly. And, oops. And I mentioned earlier that Maybe I didn't mention earlier, but when you're drawing, and this is true of Chuck Jones and most cartoonists, you always kind of want to start with some sketchy lines, and then we'll clean up those lines later. So I'm just kind of penciling in where these 4 little wood panels are going to be. And they're not perfect, and that's okay. Need a new eraser. Kind of clean them up a little bit. So just penciling them in, kind of figuring out where the spacing of these 4 little panels are. One thing you can do to make it look a little more realistic is you can add in the edges. So like I said, edges of things are important, especially when you're drawing in things that are 3D. So when I say edges, what I'm meaning is like so each piece of this chair, each piece of wood is like a 2x4. It's like it has dimension to it. So I'm giving them a little of an edge. And you know what? To do this, I need to sharpen my pencil because my pencil is dull. Let me go grab my pencil sharpener. So you might need, unless you're using a digital format, you might need to sharpen your pencil a little bit. And it's okay if your lines aren't perfectly straight. It's totally fine. Take my eraser and go back, and so now that I have all these 4 little panels, 4 little pieces of wood that are holding my chair up, it's a little confusing because I'm like, where's the negative space and where's the positive space? So where are the holes in between the panels and where are the actual like panels themselves? So in order to like clear up that confusion, I can take my pencil, and this is where the shading comes in. I can shade a little bit, maybe right underneath where the seat goes, on the top part right here, because that might be where the seat is casting a little bit of a shadow, just to kind of help me see where these panels are now. There we go, makes it a little clearer. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to add in some of these legs. So I can start here, and maybe I do 1 leg. And this is also where this base that you've drawn in, because you have this structure already in place, that can help you when you're placing these chair legs. So maybe the chair legs, I'm going to have them taper in a little bit. So maybe maybe 1 leg comes down straight to the corner down here. The other leg kind of comes out from here. Maybe I have another one coming back, and I'm having them come down kind of straight down to where my form ends. And then that back leg, the one in the very back, let me fix this line up a little bit, is a little hard to see because we don't really see where this form ends. If I had drawn in the bottom of this form, if this was like a translucent or see-through form, it maybe ended back here. So that last leg, I'm really only going to see like a very little bit of it. Maybe it's like right there. Don't really see very much. Maybe it comes down a little farther. We don't see very much of it though, for sure. Maybe it goes like that. Yeah. All right. Because they're legs and they're below the seat of the chair, you might want to shade them a little bit. I like to give them a little shadow because they probably would be in shade, probably would be shaded. And once you've done that, you can take your eraser and you can kind of go back and erase that box that was around your form in the first place. And you should have a fairly 3D chair. So because you had the guideline of having a 3D form first, it can really, really help you when you are drawing in something that you want to be more realistic. And it's interesting because a lot of times I feel like we tend to focus a lot on character design, and we don't think about like the drawing of everyday objects. Like what if your character is sitting in a chair? We all need to practice drawing in chairs and sofas and other like dressers and things. Does anybody have any questions? Are we all good? Or was I going too fast for everybody? Or are we all right?
This is good.
This is good? Okay. This will get posted on our Chuck Redux site, so on YouTube too. So if you ever want to go back and rewatch, if you're like, it was so fast, I can't keep up, then feel like, I know that we post these, like it'll take like a week or two, but it definitely gets posted. Oh, nice, Josh. I kind of love that you have, I see your screen. You can see that's an awesome chair. If anybody wants to share, very cool. That looks awesome. Very nice. See how that shape really did help. Having that box drawn in first really does help you when you're drawing in something that you want to be more 3D. Awesome. All right. Well, let's do another one together. And this time, yeah, we'll do another one together. And then maybe after that, I'm gonna have you guys go off and see if you can do one on your own. So let's see, okay. For this one, let's do a couch. Or let's do like a chair, and like a soft chair. So we had like a hard chair. So for this one, I'm gonna start, actually, let me give myself some space. So
Can you pause for a second?
Mm-hmm. Can pause for just a second, sure. Yeah, for this one, it's gonna be like a sofa chair. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started though. Okay, so for this one, maybe I give myself a little bit of room. Start right here. I can go down, and then maybe I'll make it a little bit, yeah, go like that. And I'm gonna do the same, kind of gonna do the same format where like the corner is to me, like this. So I'm drawing in, this one's just kind of like another rectangular prism, but this one is like a little bit, instead of nice and tall, this one is kind of a flatter one. I like turning my paper sometimes instead of turning my hand to kind of get the right lines in. And you see how I'm keeping it real nice and sketchy and loose? You just want them to be real sketchy, real light, real loose. Okay, so now I have like kind of a low flat rectangular prism drawn. Okay. Now I'm gonna go up to the next. All right, so this is gonna be like a sofa chair. So maybe there's like, the back has like a back form. So I'm gonna, back here, I'm gonna add in like another little rectangular prism. This one's kind of coming up a little higher. So maybe it comes like this. It's gonna be like the headrest part of my sofa, the back part of the sofa. It's a little wider like that, yeah. Don't be afraid to like draw in and have to erase and fix up. If you're like if you don't like the lines, it's totally fine. Giving it some, like some sides. So like, maybe I have like a side coming down like this.
Can you pause, please?
This is going to be like an armrest. So I'm just kind of going over the lines a little bit. So you can already kind of see.
Can you pause, please?
Yeah, sure. So you can already kind of see though, the form taking shape. You can already see that this is like going to be the back and this is going to be the side. And so all I did was I started, and I'm using, like I said, I'm using that original form, that original like rectangular prism that I drew to help me kind of place where all my lines are going to go. So I have one armrest right here. So I'm going to do one armrest. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the other one in. So I'm just kind of sketching in the other one over here. And I can slow down a little bit. Does anybody have any questions or want to share what they've got so far? I see some cool things taking place. So the hardest part maybe is adding in this like top part up here. So I added like the top part. It's just the top part of like another rectangular prism on top, just like this. So, all right, so I've drawn in one side. I'm going to go ahead and draw the other side in. So there's the other edge. Maybe I bring this down. Right now it's like there's no place to sit. Right now we have the sides and we have the back, but there's no place to sit. So I also need to add in the actual chair part. So for that, maybe I add in a line that goes across like this. Maybe a couple lines, maybe like this is gonna be like the cushion part, that. And then I'm gonna draw in, I'm trying to follow the same angle. So we know this is the angle of the chair. So I'm trying to follow that same angle to get that corner, like that. All of a sudden, once you have that angle, look, now you have a place to sit. Actually, I did these ones a little bit crooked, so let me fix these. Yeah, it's a little better. You want the angle of these lines that you're doing to go across. So that bottom line that you drew, that very first bottom, is really important. So you want these lines to match it. It should be at the same angle, just like that. Kind of erase this part. You can already see I have a chair. I have like a sofa chair. If you want to like get fancy with it, like we did with the wooden chair, if you want to add some shading in, you can. So like shading always makes things look a little more realistic. I can shade in maybe one of the inside arm of this chair right here. So I'm just kind of lightly shading it in. Maybe I want to shade in because maybe the light's coming from like behind the chair because that side's dark. So maybe this side is also going to be a little bit dark. So when you're doing shadows, like I said, you always kind of have to imagine where the light is coming from. So in this case, the light's going to be coming from this side. So I'm just shading this side over here because this is going to be the dark side of the moon. The sun's over here. And this is the dark side of the chair. Just like that. If I want, I can add a little bit of shadow underneath here because maybe this part is like underneath the sofa cushion. Here's my cushion right here. If I want to go back and like darken up any of my lines now, this is a good time to go back and like clean up and darken up lines. If you also want to get fancy, so underneath the chair, it's probably a base. And sometimes, like, especially when you're doing furniture, it's kind of really important to think about like how things are sitting. So I'm just like adding like a little bit of a dark base, and that part's going to be really shadowy. So all I did was add in a little bit of a darker angled bottom to my chair. And now it has some place to sit. Now it looks like it's like sitting on something. You can go back and you can erase and clean up any of the sketchy lines you had at the beginning if you want to clean it up. Does anybody have any questions? Or I'd love to see some of your drawings if you want to share. Okay, so we've done a wooden chair, we've done a sofa chair. So what I challenge you guys to do is, actually, you know what, we'll do one more. We'll do one more. We're gonna do, this time we'll do something with a cylinder. But then I'm gonna challenge you guys to find something in your room or wherever you are and to try to draw that. So it could be a piece of furniture, it can be like an object, like you could even draw, you know, the shape of a pencil. A pencil itself is just a cylinder, but it's a cylinder that has flat sides to it. So you could try drawing something like that. So, but the real trick is, and this is where a lot of times it's learning, not being an artist is learning how to look like an artist in terms of like learning how to see all the shapes underneath things. So I'm challenging you as artists, because you guys are all artists here, to look for the forms. So this is what we're doing really, is really all about form. We look for the forms that exist underneath what you're drawing. So, all right, we'll do one more example. Let's do a cylinder this time. Let me zoom out a little bit. Wrong way. There we go. All right, so let's start with a cylinder. This time let's start with that ellipsis. So I'm just drawing like that flat, squishy circle shape with two straight sides. We're drawing we're gonna draw like a soda can this time. And if you happen to have a soda can in your house to look at, all the better. So I'm just gonna draw down these.
Nathaniel has a question.
Yeah, hey Nathaniel, what's up?
Can I show my chair?
Sure, I'd love to see your chair. Awesome, that looks amazing. Nice job, really 3D. Very cool. Nice job. All right, so we're just drawing in a cylinder now. So it's kind of got that curved bottom part, pretty important. And if you go over like I did, just erase. If your lines aren't straight, just erase. It's all sketchy. Keeping it loose, keeping it sketchy. There we go. A little bit better. So you're drawing in a cylinder. I'll pause here because I know that I'm going a little quick. All right. So we're doing just a cylinder. So an ellipsis, two straight lines, and a curved line at the bottom. If your cylinder were translucent or see-through, then we would really see that ellipsis on the bottom too. You'd see that, this matching ellipsis down here that should match the one on the top. But it just depends on if your cylinder is see-through or not. Mine is not going to be see-through because I'm going to draw a can. I'm going to erase behind it. Okay. So for a soda can, it's all about the little details. This is the shape of a can. We've already have like the basis of the can. So really it's all just about the little details. So some of the little details in a can are that the edges, there's like a little lip. So there's like a little line that goes underneath like this. And the can usually goes down and then it curves back out like that. Yeah, just like that. So if you want to add that little lip, add a little lip, and the can goes in and out. So like it's like we're sculpting away. We're sculptors right now. We're sculpting into the form that we have originally drawn. Now you're going to have another part. So here's the top part of my ellipsis. I'm going to have another little lip. So see how there's like that lip that I drew right here? All I'm doing is I'm doing another curved line on the top up here that matches just like this. It's kind of that curved top part of my can. So you can see now that there's like a arm around it. That's the top part of almost every soda can. There we go. And then on the bottom, it's kind of the same thing. It just kind of tapers in. The cans always kind of taper in a little bit. And then there's that curved part down here. So there's like the bottom part of the can, and then there's it sits on like a little ledge that tapers in a little bit on the base. Then I'm not going to get too detailed here, but you can add like a dark circle up here, a dark ellipsis up here, which is like the hole of in the can of the hole, and then you have the pop. What's it called? The pop top. I feel like you have the popper, and it's just kind of like an ellipsis like that too. I'm not getting too detailed here. Kind of just looks like that. And then you can add in any kind of labels you want. Any kind of labels. This could be any kind of can, any kind of soda. Could be maybe, so the trick to doing a label is you have to imagine now that this is a curved form. So if I were going to be coloring it in or shading it, we're pretending. So if I was going to add some, and you don't have to do this, I'm just doing this to show you guys, but if I was going to add in any lines, they would have to be curved. I don't know if you guys can see these light lines I'm doing, but this shape is now a curved form. And in order for it to stay a curved form like that, when you add in a label, you have to curve that line. So that same curve that you did right here, that same curve, you have to kind of follow that to do a label. So it's like a curved form like this, and then maybe the label comes straight down, and then it's the same matching curve on the bottom. just like that. You don't want your lines to be straight. You want these ones to be curved to match the curve of your can. It's pretty important. Let me erase some of those sketchy curve lines I made because I don't need them now. And then you can be as creative as you want with what kind of label you put on, or you can just be as simple as you want. You can just add some lines in if you want, if you don't want to be too fancy with it. Doesn't really matter. This is all just a sketch. In terms of shading, because we did add a little bit of shading to these drawings to kind of get a sense of where the areas of darkness are. So definitely at the bottom part of the can, like the bottom lip, it's going to be a little bit in shadow. So if you wanted to add in, because that's underneath, so it's just going to be a little bit darker. And this ledge right here, because it tapers in, because it's going in like this, is also going to be a little bit in shadow. So if I can add in those areas in shadow, kind of like that. And there I go, there I have a can. And it all just started with a simple cylinder. Super, super easy. Because it was a lot easier to draw than if I just was starting from trying to draw the can without thinking of the shape that exists, the shape that it is. You're right, Evie. Tip is that is totally true. If you want to like draw the curve lines in and then write the text along, exactly. That's a good tip. Really good tip. All right. So we've done 3 different forms now together. So I'm challenging you now to try to find something in your room that you're in or the space that you're in to draw. And the real challenge though is before you draw it, I want you to try to see what kind of 3D form like is it built out of. So if you were going to break it down, it's almost like if you're, I don't know if you guys ever played Minecraft, but if you're going to break it down into like its most basic block form to build it, what forms, what block, what size, what shapes, what blocks would it be built out of? So I'm going to do something really easy in my room, which is the room I'm in has a dresser, which is a super simple rectangular prism. So that's the one I'm going to do, but I'm challenging you guys to do.
Can I show my can?
Absolutely. And tater tot, yes. Oh wow, Fanta, nice.
And I added the shadow down here.
Nice job. That looks awesome. Very nice.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. Tater tot, to answer your question, you can totally do a random fantasy thing. It does not have to be a real thing. The challenge though is to try to draw in the 3D form underneath it first, okay? So like I'm focusing on everyday objects today, so I'm just gonna stick with this dresser that's in my room. So I'm starting with this rectangular prism for my dresser, because that's what the shape the dresser is. It's definitely a rectangular prism. So it's really good practice. If you ever are bored and you're like, I don't know what to do, you can always practice drawing in some 3D forms, because 3D forms, like these 3D shapes, rectangular prisms, cylinders, spheres, cubes, even cones. We didn't really talk about cones, but I can show you guys how to do a cone in a minute. They're all the basis of, or the building blocks of your drawings, okay? So it's kind of good practice. And you know what? And sometimes you might not like what you draw at first. And I just realized that I'm looking at this dresser and I drew it wrong. So maybe I need to erase it and fix it, and that's totally fine. So it's a little bit
Spotlight Cat.
Sure, let's see, Kat. Hi, Kat.
Question.
Say it again.
So I'm drawing this, right?
Yeah.
And I got the basic shape, the rectangular prism in,
Yes.
but I can't seem to get the shelves in right.
Okay. So you're doing something similar to me. So here, I'll show you how I do it on mine because I'm about to do these shelves. Okay. So shelves, so kind of like when we did this chair, shelves, a lot of what makes a shelf look like a shelf are two things. One, that you have the lines at the right angle, and two, that you have edges. So see how this seat of the chair has like a lip or an edge, and how I added in like really lightly the edges of these pieces. If you add in those edges, it's going to help you. So first of all, let me just go ahead and draw in. So see this top line and this bottom line. It's really, really important when you're doing a shape for if it's going to look 3D, that top line and that bottom line match. And all of the lines like that are going across from my dresser have to like be parallel to those lines. So I'm just starting with some of these. And I'm not being too precious about it. I'm not like measuring out anything. Just kind of sketching in where these drawers are going to go. So I'm starting with those lines across, and I'm trying to make sure that they match those angles, okay? They can already kind of see that it's starting to look like a dresser just by doing those lines across. But I want it to look even more like a dresser because I want it to look even more 3D-like. So one of the things that I notice is that there are these edges. So on the sides here, maybe I draw in like the edges of these drawers. So there's going to be one drawer, and it's got this side edge right here. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I can draw it in a little bit bigger so that you can see it a little bit better. Let me sharpen my pencil. That can help too. Sometimes, dropped it. Sometimes it really helps to have a sharp pencil. When you're adding in tiny details. So like, kind of like drawing it in bigger than I normally would so that you can kind of see it, but see how there's like an edge now? I'm trying to draw in, it's almost like I'm drawing in little mini like rectangular prisms, really, really thin, like flat ones like this. Can you see how I did that, Kat? That's kind of gonna help. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so then I have my other shelf above it. So here's gonna be the other one. And sometimes it's those little details of like edges of things that can really make something look more realistic or not, or less realistic. So there's another one. The other thing is shading. That's going to help with these drawings. So after I finished sketching it in, I think about where the dark areas are, and that it can be really a lot easier to do that when you're looking at an actual object, like when you're drawing it from observation. So there we go. Do another one up here. Okay. And this top drawer has two drawers. So I'm gonna divide it up a little bit. Got a line in the middle like this. Kind of like that. All right. So now that I've drawn those in, like I said before, Kat, it can be really helpful to add in some of the shading. So let me go back and add in these lines underneath. And then inside under here, under where all the drawers are, it's darker. It's definitely darker down here. So I'm going to add in some of that shading. If you're drawing a piece of furniture, always try to pay close attention to like what it's sitting on. So like does it have a base? Like if it has a base, is that base like right underneath it? This one actually kind of is inset a little bit, so it goes in a little bit like this. And then that bottom part's really going to be shaded dark, kind of like when we did the bottom of the chair, the bottom of all of these things actually, the bottoms of the legs, the bottom of the can, the bottom of the sofa chair. They're all darker because like it's where the darkest shadows are cast, the very bottom, and it'll give your piece of furniture like a kind of a solidity to it. It'll make it look more like heavy and real. So I'm just going back and kind of cleaning up some of these lines. And I can go in and erase if I need. But see how I used that 3D shape to help me draw in my form. Maybe this whole side's in shadow a little bit. There we go. All right, I would love to see some of the things that you guys have drawn. And I hope this is helpful in drawing objects. So like when I'm drawing, I kind of pretend, like I said, I pretend I'm a sculptor. Like
I got one.
Sculpting away at these forms. Who said that?
I got a picture to draw.
Awesome.
I got a picture that I drew. I copied from a bubble mixture.
Oh, that's awesome! It's totally a bubble, like a bubble blower thing. Very cool.
Yeah.
And you even
I added the shadow at the bottom so it looks like it's actually sitting down on something.
Nice detail. I love it. And I love you added the wand in and even the bubbles coming off. Very nice.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Can I show mine?
Sure, Nathaniel. Let's see. Whoa, you drew your laptop. Awesome.
My dad's laptop.
Your dad's laptop. Very nice. Nice job. Nice using the 3D form underneath. Very cool. Nice job. Anybody else want to share?
Okay.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, who said? You have to tell us your name. I don't know who said that.
Eldridge.
Eldridge. Yeah, sure. Let's see. Ooh, nice. I see your chair. Wait, which one was it that you did? Oh, there's very nice. Which one was in your room? Which one did you do?
Well, I did the easel that was in my room.
Nice. Very cool. An easel is almost like a pyramid shape. That's awesome. Cool. Thanks for sharing. Nice drawing.
Here's Liliana and Heather Rose.
Hi, girls. Let's see what you girls do. Nice. Oh, you did your notebook. Oh, that's awesome with like the spiral side. Very cool. And I like the hand that's reaching out for the can? And, oh my gosh, is there something coming out of that dresser? Is there a cat coming? Is there a cat in that drawer?
A little plush bear.
So cute. So cute. Thanks for sharing. Nice job. Really nice job. Oh, nice. Very nice. Ooh, wait, what was the shape? What the one you did? Ooh, tell us about the ones that you did. They're on the right side.
Oh, this is a carpet.
Oh, I see it. It's like curled up. It's almost like a magic carpet.
Yeah. This is an unfinished mattress.
Oh, I see it. I totally see it. And that's the pillow that's lying on top of the mattress.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Very nice. Really nice job. Nice job using that form underneath. Does anybody else want to share? Nice, Josh. I see your Game Boy controller. That's awesome. Very cool. It's your Xbox controller. Very nice.
Oh, here's Laura.
Let's see, Laura. Hi, Laura.
So I drew this lamp
Oh, nice.
in digital art.
Ooh. Oh, you gotta. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. Look at that. Look at the form on that. So that's the base of that lamp is really cool because it's kind of like a cylinder, but it's like bulging out and then tapering in and bulging out and then tapering in, and like that's really cool. You nailed it. You really nailed that the forms on that. And the little owls.
Yeah.
You nailed the owls too.
Yeah, I didn't want to draw every single feather. It would be really
No
hard
worries.
to do
No
that.
worries. But the thing is that with something, when you're doing a cartoon of something, you don't have to draw every detail. You're just trying to get that like basic shape across. If anybody else wants to share, just let us know.
I think we should actually let some people finish this share.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know if everybody's totally finished.
If
Here's Kat.
if people are done and they're done sharing, can they draw any more and share them?
Sure. Yeah, you can, but I will warn you that it's 11:58, so you have to go pretty fast. Go ahead, Kat.
So sorry, my video seems to be frozen.
Oh, okay. You know what? We'll come back to you, okay?
Okay.
We'll keep an eye on it, and hopefully it unfreezes. Okay. But you're totally right. If you want to work on drawing something else and sharing that, you totally can. If you have some time.
My video came unfrozen.
Okay, awesome, Kat. Let's go back to you.
So does anyone mind if I share because I did digital art?
No, go ahead, share it.
So this is, oh, sorry. This
That's okay.
is what I've been working.
Nice. So that's your dresser that you're drawing in?
It's actually a pencil shelf. I'm still working on it.
Yeah, sorry. I saw what you were drawing. Yeah, it's that tall one. That tall, thin one. I'm gonna challenge you, Kat, and this is like kind of like your homework, but I'm challenging you to draw that a second time, and this time try to turn it so that it's kind of angled a little different, so that you're not facing it straight on. See, yeah, no, I'm like, you're gonna have to like, so how I did the dresser, and it was you go back to me, Scott, for a second.
Sure.
Hold on. Wait, I have to start my share first.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm going to challenge you, Kat, this time, and I don't have it in front of me what you're drawing, but I'm going to challenge you to try to draw it again. This time, try to draw it more at an angle. It'll look more dynamic that way. You did an awesome job with the shape, but I think you could do it again if you draw it at an angle like this. Kind of like that. It'll look even more 3D. Okay, just try it. I hope that makes sense. So, because the way you had it was very like straight, which is hard to draw 3D. So one of the reasons why I was like on all of the rectangular prisms, I tilted it so that one of the corners was facing forward, is that it's easier to draw. You were actually doing it kind of in a harder way. when it's straight on, you don't see, it's like it's harder to see the sides. So try tilting it a little bit. Okay. If there's anybody else. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you picked up some tips and tricks for drawing in objects, because it's really all about looking for the shapes.
Yeah, I sure did that. I definitely see it.
Awesome.
Tater
Lauren.
Tot would like to share.
Yeah, sure, Tater Tot. Whoa, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Tell us
Thank
about
you.
this.
I wanted to do like a little hut thingy near an ocean bay type thing, so I did.
Nice. I love it. I love how you're built. So you're past the 101 level. You're like stacking shapes on top of shapes, which is kind of amazing.
Thank you.
Very cool. Very nice. Yeah, I think some people, Laura, wanted to know what that creature was that you drew. Tell us about that creature.
Okay, it's called Echidna, and it's from a game called My Singing Monsters.
Ooh, you want to share it real
The
fast?
original photo I kind of came after.
Oh, cool. Very cool. You drew that? That's awesome.
No, this one is from the game. I can show you the one I drew.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It's my favorite game.
That's a funny little creature. He almost like looks porcupine-ish, but not. And he's got like birds sitting on him.
Echidna.
Oh, why don't you write it in the comments? Because I think.
Yeah, okay.
All right, cool. All right, last call for anybody who wants to share. Okay, and if you don't want to share, it's no deal. Everybody did an awesome job. I'm really impressed with all of these different forms that you guys came out with, and all of the shapes and all the things that you guys drew were amazing. Really cool. So like I said, the challenge is to, when you're looking at anything, be it a pencil sharpener, your phone, a pencil, look to see what shapes are underlying it. So like, this is a rectangular prism. This is kind of a cylinder. A phone is like a really flat rectangular prism. So I'm challenging you to look for the forms that are underneath things. Okay? All right. I hope you
I
guys
have a question.
Sure. Who said that?
Laya.
Yeah, Laya, what's up?
What if when you, so say I'm drawing something right now, when I look at it, there is something geometric, as what I mean is 3D, and something else is like non-3D. And even if I face it different ways, it's still the same way.
Okay, so
I don't get how to draw that.
Tell me what it is. What is it?
Well, I have a model of this, and I'm drawing this. And so when I face this way, even if I turn it this way, it's still like a square face. So I don't know how to exactly draw that.
That's tricky. That's a really tricky one. So for something like that, I would start with, here, let me see. Without seeing it, with only seeing it really quickly, I would start with like the base of it almost kind of looked like a little bit like a cylinder. So it was kind of like cylindrical.
Okay.
A little bit. I'm guessing here. And then I saw that it had like kind of like almost like ice cream like top.
Yeah.
So I would draw in that like ice creamy top part. And for sometimes with round shapes, kind of like what we talked about with a sphere, is that sometimes with things that are round, it's hard to get them 3D without adding shading in. So like, and then maybe, I don't know if your thing had like, it was like part of a house or something, but maybe it kind of goes back like that. I don't know. I'd have to, without seeing it, it's a little tricky, but I know for a fact that there was definitely like almost like a cylinder type shape. And remember, when you're doing it, you're trying to draw that shape in, and then if it's not a perfect cylinder, that's okay. Like maybe it's not. Maybe it's like it.
And I
Like,
just have to like carve it into the shape.
yeah, maybe the sides aren't really cylinders. Maybe it's like flat like this. Maybe it has like facets,
Yeah.
like a pencil does. But by starting with that cylinder shape, you can kind of get more. So like now the sides are flat; they're not like cylinders. Okay.
Yeah, I get it now. That's good.
Okay.
I
Cool.
got it.
Awesome. Hope that helped. All right. Cool. All right, guys. You all did awesome. I'm really impressed. We'll be having more classes next week. Oh, I have something on my face. Yeah, we'll have more classes next week. And I hope I get to see you guys then. All right. Bye.
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 Bye, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Bye.